Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day to start things off. It says Bitcoin is recovering, but this key data shows bears are still well in control. Bitcoin is currently recovering from the $8,512 weekly low against the US dollar. However, Bitcoin's price is still facing many key hurdles near 9,000 US dollars, and it could resume its decline. This week, we saw a strong downward move in Bitcoin below 9,000 and $8,800 against the US dollar, right? Bitcoin's price even traded below 8680 support levels and settled well below the 100 hourly simple moving average. A new weekly low is formed around 8,500, and the price is currently correcting losses. It surpassed 8,700 and the 23.6 fib retracement level of the downward move from the 92.81 high to 85.12 low. So a really weird thing ended up happening last night, and I don't know if a lot of people caught it. Maybe it depends on the time of night that you ended up going to sleep, if you have even gone to sleep at this point. The market began a recovery. And then for some reason, while I had my eyes closed, the price slammed back down and then went back up. And I don't mean like a half slam. I mean like it was one of those really weird, like you think you're about to get ice cream and someone knocks it out of your hand kind of thing. It was clear that the market was trying to go back up. Someone sold a lot of monies because Bitcoin's price and the wider market followed the exact same pattern, went back down, and then went back up about a good hour later, and then it seems over the last 5 or 6 hours, the price has been trending downwards, depending on how you really look at it. This one says, XRP grows by 5% in a day as bulls recover. Can a push to 35 cents materialize? This one says, Binance coin prices rise to $19.60. The Binance coin price line sees bulls after consolidating around the $18 mark. On the 27th of February, the cryptocurrency saw an uptrend towards the $19.60 mark. This one says, Ripple price bulls call for reversal. Bullish pattern breakout targets 50 cents. I've also seen a lot of these as well. Not exclusively for XRP, but there's a lot of news that bulls have once again begun to scream in the streets and say that it is time for the market to reverse, and therefore the market's going to reverse. And they're all citing very large numbers, larger than we were before. I'm seeing a lot of 50 cent XRP. I'm seeing any 12 to 14,000 Bitcoin. I'm seeing what is it, like $400-500 Ethereum. A lot of, and this is another thing that I keep seeing. I don't have all the tabs up here because there are far too many ideas as to where the market could go, and I'm not going to cover every single one of them. I see a lot of this in the comment section. I see drops of this around crypto Twitter, and it's the idea that we have to or had to fill the gap with the Bitcoin futures, and I think the Bitcoin futures were around 8,500, and therefore people say we have filled. Some say we need a smidge more to go down before we have filled the gap with the futures. And this is where a lot of people, I saw someone earlier talking about that they're expecting after the gap has been filled, what have you, that Bitcoin is going to start to target 11,400 or 11,700 in order to move upward toward the momentum of where the futures currently are. And then this gets us into the discussion of, do the futures control the market? Do the people who control the futures control the cryptocurrency market? Or why is it that every single time that a futures contract is ending, especially one from the CME, because I think the CBOE had no interest in theirs, that we need, air quote, to fill the gap? Why can't Bitcoin simply act on its own? It probably, my opinion, if these numbers are being filled or numbers are being pushed around by whales, they're probably the same exact people who, maybe, speculation, run the Bitcoin futures in many different markets, and therefore they have enough Bitcoin in real life to be able to push the price back and forth to make it seem as though Bitcoin is actually correlated to the Bitcoin futures price, when it may not even be so at all. It may just simply be that someone calls for a number on the Bitcoin futures, prices react, or people start to sell, the whales start to sell in the Bitcoin market to make sure that that gap is filled, air quotes. And then on another platform, they're buying up all the Bitcoin, which then causes the price to rise back up, which also causes the price of the Bitcoin futures to also rise as well. This one says EOS price rises to $3.60. What to expect? That's the question we all have because no one knows. This one says Bitcoin set for bounce to 9,500 as market bulls make comeback. This is all once again. Yeah, it was said 12 hours ago. This is when the market it looked fairly okay. I was quite feeling okay when I realized that I had purchased once again when the market was down. It's still not as low as when I purchased it, which is good. But it was one of those very rare moments where you purchase and the price doesn't continue going down and you're like, what the fudge is going on? So you kind of, I made some profit and then I fell asleep and then the market was like, nope. This one says Ethereum recovers 8%, but here's why ETH could dive again. No one knows, once again, if it's going to go back up or back down. I also saw a couple of them. That's a weird photo. I also saw a couple of them. I'll give you the very low and the very high. I've seen some people swinging words around on Twitter that they think that Bitcoin is making a move back to 1,000. Good luck to you. Godspeed, dare I say. I did like the little captain hand hat move. Because there's probably no way, if Bitcoin goes back to 1,000, that means the entire market has been decimated and something terribly wrong has happened. It is probably unlikely that we're going back to 1,000, but I mean, if we get there, I'll give you a golf clap. And on the other side, I'm seeing a major uptick in the amount of articles that are floating around talking about where Bitcoin's price will be as we move closer to the halving. A lot of major analysts have said that this drop was going to happen, and therefore the prediction has been fulfilled, has come true. The price had to go down before we end up making all new, amazing, wonderful, super cool, funky, fresh fly highs as we get closer to and also after the halving has taken place. Once again, nobody knows, but the market tried to recover. A couple of gigantic sea animals said no, and this is where we are. Let's move on. In your news, that was everywhere news, and I don't know why this made such significant headlines. The Securities and Exchange Commission has charged Steven Seagal for unlawfully participating in an ICO, that is an initial coin offering. The popular Hollywood star has ultimately agreed to pay over $350,000 for violating the anti-touting law. The ICO bubble of 2017 and 2018 raised concerns among some world regulators, including the SEC. The U.S. watchdog warned back then that the tokens sold as ICOs may be securities. Ever since then, the commission has been eagerly looking over the matter, and Steven Seagal recently felt the impact. A document disclosed yesterday informed that the SEC settled charges with the American actor. During the bubble, he was promoting an ICO called Bitcoin, that is with two I's, not joking, Bitcoin 2Gen or B2G. Seagal advertised the upcoming token on his public social media accounts, encouraging his fans not to miss out on the opportunity. Remember 2017 when remember I told you where I would get about, I'm not joking, it was anywhere from 50 to 100 emails a day with people asking me to promote their ICO, and I was like, no. And then people started telling me that I was a loser because I wasn't promoting ICOs on my channel, like a couple of other channels that are no longer here or were promoting BitConnect. So in not even in hindsight, just in logic sight, it all makes sense. I could have told you all these things were scams. Are any of you using Bitcoin 2Gen? The point being, this news was everywhere. I assume it has to do with the name Steven Seagal, because he was famous about 40 years ago. Maybe that has to do with it. Maybe it was the fact that I assume that has to be it. Yeah, not really much more to talk about, but apparently this news was important enough that the entire cryptocurrency space had to talk about it on every single website. We knew this before. I'll tell you this right now. If you ever see a coin based on an ICO or an STO, or are there IEOs? If it has these letters in front of it, don't promote it. Just purely simple. I'll just put it that way. Anyway, that's the really news that was everywhere news. And without further ado, let us move on. Next up, Binance has announced that it will offer 0 fees to users buying cryptocurrencies using euros, British pounds, and Australian dollars. Users in the European Union, the United Kingdom, and Australia will now be able to buy cryptocurrencies on Binance's platform with their national currencies. Yay! Banza, Binance's fiat payment solution provider, has offered to permanently reduce fees to 0% for most of its popular payment methods. This will make it more affordable for Binance users to deposit cryptocurrencies, the exchange said. Binance established a partnership with Australian-based Banza earlier this year to expand its fiat on-ramp options. Poly for users in Australia, Ideal for users in the Netherlands, and SEPA for users in the EU are all free. Users in the United Kingdom will be able to use the faster payments bank transfer, also without fees. Here's the blog post right here. So for those of you who were tired of paying fees when sending money to Binance, if you live in these countries, yay. I mean, it is pretty significant, especially when we were talking about, what was the other, was it Coinbase? I don't know. There was another exchange that had like deposit fees of like 1.5%. And it's like, what? They had withdrawal fees, which was also, it's my money. Can I just have it for free? And also the other one was Coinbase. It was the 25% fee for staking. And then I saw some, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I don't feel like rambling on. The point is, thumbs up Binance for making things less expensive in this already hugely expensive world. Next up, some hopefully potentially good news. Revolut is coming to a smartphone near you with an array of cryptocurrencies before tax day. Yay! Having just raised $500 million on a $5.5 billion valuation, Revolut is one of the biggest fintechs in Europe. Revolut is a neobank, simply a bank without the expense and convenience of physical branches or the headache of licensing. Revolut is already well established in Europe. On its home soil, it allows users to buy and sell BTC, ETH, LTC, BCH, and XRP. For one of 29 fiat currencies, Revolut expects to start offering the same service to clients in all 50 US states. That's the major thing. Cointelegraph sat down with Dan Westgarth, general manager for North America, to discuss Revolut's offering in the United States. Assessing the crypto landscape in the US, Dan believes that Square is its biggest competitor. Unlike Square's Cash App, which offers Bitcoin only, Revolut has 4 other major cryptocurrencies on the menu. We just heard about Square yesterday. They sold, what was it, $500 million worth of Bitcoin last year just on one app. And the significance being that Square only offers Bitcoin because Jack Dorsey loves Bitcoin. So Revolut, I assume, has this launched. Are they there? Tokens future, blah blah. Do they have an app already that's within the United? I feel like they do, within the states. Anyway, the point being, I have seen many a time before, many people telling me, and I'm sorry for you, that certain services are not available within all 50 U.S. states. Right. So hopefully Revolut gets it together. Hopefully by the end of this year, I would say by the end of this month, but we know that things don't move that quick. So hopefully by the end of this year, all 50 US states are blanketed in Revolut so that you can, if you so chooseth, buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bcash, and XRP with the greatest of ease. Next up, venture capitalist Tim Draper has taken a 1 million ant stake worth around $760,000 in Aragon, a decentralized governance project that began on Ethereum. The move, disclosed in a press release on Wednesday, gives Draper control over about 2.5% of Aragon's total token supply. Draper is a longtime crypto evangelist and a serial project backer. The Switzerland-based Aragon Association is attempting to build, here we go, a digital judicial system for decentralized autonomous organizations and its own Aragon network. Any ant holder with 1,000 tokens, and he has 1 million of them, can participate in the Aragon court, which went into session for the first time on the 10th of February with a controversial mock trial of Ethereum Classic dev Yaz Kurri. Aragon Association Executive Director, there we go, Luis Gwende, said Draper came on board after seeing the Aragon Court go live. Aragon Court. He said, I think the recent launch of Aragon Court and the realization that why do they keep using the word Aragon? Can be to governance what Bitcoin what Bitcoin is to money. I had the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Draper did not immediately respond to requests for comment. So the thing that I saw floating around, and maybe this was just on my side of the internet, it appears, now once again, I am not very well versed in Aragon, nor should you expect me to be. If you've been watching this channel, we've had so many other instances before where, like, I can't even think of a weird name. Like some coins that we just never talk about, and I know nothing about them because I don't know about these coins that are going to go eventually to zero. Not saying that Aragon will, but you get my point. And people are like, man, you need to know what that coin does. And I'm like, no, but I don't though. So like I said, I am not very well versed in Aragon. And if you are, please correct me. It would appear that any ant holder, as it says right here, with 1,000 tokens can participate in the court. Does that then mean that Mr. Draper then has 1,000 votes, as 1,000 times 1,000 is a million? Does that mean that he has 1,000 votes on the network, which then give him extra power? Or is it simply that you could have 1,000 or you could have 80,000 and you still have the same amount of weight in the court? Because owning 2.5% of all the tokens, that makes you a whale. And imagine a situation where something really important is going to happen and some type of governance needs to happen for a DAO, and this man has 1 million of them. What then happens to that vote? He can completely... This is also part of the... what's the word? Part of the discussion right now with EOS is that the people who hold a lot of EOS, they can swing votes in their favor on the EOS network because they started accumulating EOS when it was around 30, 40 cents. And now that they have so much of it, should something have to be voted on the network and they simply don't want it to, the whales, 2 or 3 people can join together and simply go no, and then the other 30,000 people on the network go, oh, okay, well, that's fine. I'm okay with this. So I don't know what their governance system is like, but I feel like one that would be more fair. I don't know if it works this way. Because like I said, if you have 1,000 tokens, you can vote. But if you have 38,000, you still get the, you know, a vote is a vote. So I saw this news floating around out there. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Aragon continues to grow or if, yeah. Let's move on. And to kind of finish things off, the Bank of England's chief cashier is urging support to explore the launch of an official digital currency. Sarah John, who oversees the issuance of banknotes at England's central bank, says it is crucial to act on new opportunities with the emerging asset class. Further delays, she warns, will serve big tech players like Facebook along with the private sector that will be able to shape, control, and dominate the new era of money. In an interview with Telegraph UK, there we go, John said, "We need to think as an institution about how to position ourselves to make sure society still has a broad range of payments that it can use with confidence. It is absolutely right that central banks think about whether a public sector or private sector would be best to provide a central bank currency going forward. Meanwhile, European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde is calling on residents in the Eurozone to comment on the bank's monetary strategy in light of external factors such as climate change and the rapid disruption in banking, cross-border transactions in the payment industry due to digitalization? Yep. Lagarde, who has repeatedly issued notices about the changing tide in the global financial system, is urging people to write in with their opinions. That could be 50-50. Remember about 2 years ago when we had the situation where the SEC was telling the general public to write in with their how they felt about a Bitcoin ETF. And I remember, because I'm pretty sure all of you remember, a lot of people from the channel actually went and wrote to the SEC. You could see it live on their actual thing. They had a thing where you could click and see all the other comments that people had left. And I think out of 130 comments, I think there were 2 that were negative. All the other ones, you had some people like, yeah, put it through, we need one. You had some people who like actually went through all the math and they were like, yeah, this is so and so, blah blah blah. This is it can definitely happen. And then you had 2 people who were just real negative Nancy's. And then I saw news that apparently that the SEC had said no to the ETF based on public comments, which is kind of, once again, doesn't really, the weight doesn't really hold. So good luck to Miss Lagarde on asking residents within the Eurozone about how things have recently been going oh so well. We've seen, what's interesting is that you may remember an article from a couple of months ago where the Bank of England's, it's not CEO, what's the head title? Chief? I can't remember the name of the actual title. Mark Carney, that's his name, where he released a statement saying that he was not necessarily against Libra as long as they followed the rules, which then that's part of the reason why I sat there and was like, It seems that all the people who hated it once before are now coming forward with some type of support. But once again, we go down the rabbit hole. There's also news about Japan, who's also in deep discussions about whether they should be issuing a central bank digital currency, even after about 2 weeks ago they announced that they were going to. I don't know what the tug of war is all about, but we are we're witnessing part of it at least, where governments are trying to figure out if they should release something before Facebook, in response to Facebook, or if just in general, like when they talk about the private sector or money for the people, it's more like we're the government, we have the authority to create money, not this other company. And this also goes down to the third circle in the sky, that is decentralized cryptocurrencies. They can't really do much in their borders against something that is in another border or all the other borders. So anyway, the entire point being, we are probably, if we see Libra launching by this summer, we are going to have an avalanche of countries who are going to try and release their own central bank digital currencies. It kind of is what it is. Is this also it? Yep, here's the actual article right here from telegraph.co.uk. It says Bank of England chief cashier signals support for official cryptocurrency. Right. As always, a very special thank you. Why are you doing that? Why when I scroll down does this website always pop back up? A very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Hold on. I have to sneeze. Creole and Michelle, URL on Crypto with Lionel. Tigara Macho Nisa, Bake Me a Cake. Arfmedic 17. I don't know why for some reason I put hold on, I have to sneeze and bake me a cake into the same thing. That's very gross. I put them into the same basket. Arfmedic 17. Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner staff. Bodie McBoatface, yes to crypto. Miller Hitch Chest every day. Kyle skips leg day. Minting coins. Jeremy Fox. Jim Gardner. Anthony Charles. Nick Mangialavori. Paxis. Crypto Beer Shipmate. Vlad the Impaler. Richie Rich III. Nick Kanaya. Setsuna Damien. Nicholas Wernerth. One Piece. One Love. Crypto Artist. Coldy 3D. Mill Wheezy Adobo. Bankroll Network, Crypto Joe, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Brady Niels, Master Ventures in Thailand, Mohammed Maroney, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, Barebones Mining, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Mr. Pickles, Nostromo, Jongololo, Songololo, and Professor Wally from Gun Bot University. Thank you all very much for your support, and thank you to every single one of you who is a member of the channel. I send my digital gratitude. At the moment, for those of you who are not looking at the screen, there's the drop I was talking about. The market began to recover, and all of a sudden, kablamo. The huge dip down. No actual reason for it, as they're typically about a good hour to 2 hours after an event like this has occurred, we get some type of news as to what happened. Was there a scare? Was there a hack? Was there a blah, blah, blah? Did someone say the name Bitcoin in a negative manner? There's been nothing, and there's probably going to be nothing except for the news that we've had the last 4 times that this has happened as Bitcoin has tried to move upward in price. It's a whale. Gigantic animal in the water who's moving the prices around, because this, my dear friends, once again, is not organic. These are fine. These are just normal ups and downs of the market, but it was this move down, and then about a good 2-3 hours later, the price started to recover again, and then we're back down to where we were around this little dip. So this is why I was saying, I was like, I bought, and then there was a dip, and then we back up, and then back down where we were before. So let's see where we are by the end of the day. All the news that we had, remember we were reading earlier, about this coin has recovered. A lot of that was wiped out, as one might have imagined, as the prices went back down. Binance coin is up by 1%. Good for them. Link is up by 3.8%. Dash is up. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Of course, the market is trying to recover. Just a matter of if it'll be today, it'll be Sunday, or if it'll be next Wednesday when prices are back over 9,300 and we start having that news once again. When will Bitcoin go back over 10,000? The interesting part is that we keep breaking that resistance relatively easily. It's almost like 10,000 isn't really a thing anymore, because we've broken through it, was like 5 times now. I mean, we don't stay over it for very long, but you can't really call it a psychological level if we, keep breaking through it psychologically. Anyway, today is Friday. I hope you all enjoy your Friday. Hope you all, after work, could go out and do something nice. If not, Netflix has a whole bunch of new shows, so cuddle up with yourself or with a loved one. Order some pizza and watch a whole bunch of Netflix shows. Just do something nice. It's Friday. Don't worry about the prices. I assure you, at some point, they will be back up. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.